Toki, Ulysses, Corky, and the 55 plus orca that's in captivity, this song is dedicated to you. Out on the ocean swimming free, it's where I'm supposed to be. Not living my life in captivity. That kind of life is not for me. Take me home, where I belong. Out on the deep blue sea, swimming up to 100 miles a day with my family. Take me home. You took me away from my family. You took me away from my home, where I'm supposed to roam. You took me away from my home. Take me home, where I belong. Out on the deep blue sea. Not in aquarium, not in captivity. Take me home.
Hey everyone, hello, hello. Let me unmute everyone. What about that song, right?
Woohoo! Thanks.
Yeah, so D Jones.
So good.
D Jones. There's going to be a longer release of the song, but I called her before the show and I was like, can I please just intro it because it's so good. And so she said, of course, that's for Toki. So beautiful, beautiful song. Make sure.
Who is the singer?
D Jones. She's follows on our page, and we're getting a little bit of feedback. I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. Oh, yeah, it's because they're outside. Yeah, you're good. I'll mute you and unmute you from here. So yeah, D Jones. I'll send you her stuff, Howard, and also a preview to the video that we'll release. But wow, what a beautiful voice and beautiful heart, and beautiful words and songs. So thank you, D Jones. Lots to share today. Lots of cool stuff. Actually, do not let me forget to tell you about this rock back here. Somebody, please don't let me forget to tell you about that rock because it's really, really cool and really special. Let's check in with everyone. Deb Cruz, how are you?
Hanging in there one day at a time.
That's how we are rolling.
Mhm.
I'm doing good. Okay, I'm just keeping busy, working on saving Toki's family.
I saw that.
Every time I get sad, I just write a letter to President Biden. Yeah. Cheers me right up.
Love it.
Yep.
Ma, how are you? Oops, I have you muted. I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now? I'm good, thanks. I just want to say thanks to everyone that's texted President Biden this week. Never expected so many to get on board, but it's reached quite a lot of people, along with the emails and the letters that Christina's doing. So thank you. It's making a big difference. And I know we are being heard. We will get those dams breached. So thanks, guys. Thanks.
Howard, how are you?
Also hanging in here. Just sort of bouncing from one issue to another, I guess. But We're going to another ceremony for Toki this afternoon by Rosie Caillou and Bill Bailey, Samish elders, and they are doing a ceremony near Anacortes at Washington Park. If anyone is in the neighborhood, come on by. That's at 4:30 this afternoon. Yeah, it's all Toki all the time still. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about. And as we'll see later in the program, what's really important to me is Toki's connections with her family, her communication somehow, the mutual understanding that defies our understanding. I don't understand, but we'll see the evidence of it later in the program.
Thanks, Howard. And you're right. It's all Toki all the time. I think that, Toki's legacy really, and, we've all determined that what would Toki want, right? And take care of her family. And so we're going to keep doing that. Well, we'll talk more about the Toki all the time conversation because Toki every day in social media too. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what's going on with that and how we can best support each other while we're hearing and reading things. So Alma, how are you?
Good. Somehow a little more emotional today than I've been in a while. But like you said, Christina, when you get sad, you just, get inspired to write something or text the president about the dams. So yeah, it's just channeling the energy to something more productive.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
Amen.
You have a beautiful background there, Alma. Did you notice I had to change our background here because you were becoming I was losing you on all the green. So
Okay. I just realized I have an orca in my pool.
you do have an orca in your pool. I saw that. That's awesome. And then we got Stephanie, Casey, and Deborah there at Jackson Beach on San Juan Island. How are you, girls?
Good.
We are good. We went for a dip in the Salish Sea this morning at sunrise, and Toki was with us. Absolutely.
Toki all the time.
All the time. Just like we say, Toki all the time.
Love that spot you're in, girls. That's magic right there.
It's a good spot.
Toki's totem. Sorry. Totem.
We took Alma there. It was Alma's first time seeing the totem, and that was really magical. And then look who just joined us, Alejandro. How are you?
Alejandro.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I have an emergency at home. I had to go to Home Depot.
Oh,
Drain in my bathrooms. I had to. That's why I'm late. It is what it is. It's an old house, so I need to do an investment. I am a poor man. I am not rich.
You're rich in a lot of things for sure. And
At least I have never lived from the activism. I work. My last check was 30 hours overtime. So just with this being said, I am a hard worker.
wow.
yeah.
Yes, you are. We know
Well
that.
done.
We do know that.
Yep.
You missed the intro. You missed a beautiful song by Dee Jones, but we'll exit with that song as well, so you'll be able to hear that in a little while.
Okay.
But how about, it's not Thursday, but how about we take 3 deep breaths together, because there's been a lot this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone, just at your own pace, take 3 deep cleansing breaths loudly. Ready? Let's do it. All right. So, like Alma said, some people feeling a little more emotional, some people feeling a little more angry, some people feeling a little more all kinds of whatever it is you're feeling. It seems to be amplified this week. And I just kind of want to walk some people through things. You know, the article that came out this week really had people in feeling all the feelings, right? And I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about, but it's the article that came out in the Miami New Times. And you know, when you read it once, it's hard to read because it's the first time we've been taken through, I think, the quote unquote final moments, right? And so there's an impact. There's just that impact. No matter how it would have been worded, we would have all been in some impact to experience that, right? To kind of take you back there from wherever you are in your healing. And then there's the sharing of that article and the comments people are making when they're sharing the article that are amplifying those feelings. Trying to choose my words carefully. It amplify, you know, they're just amplifying them. And then they're sharing them, and then people are more mad, and then they're sharing it, and they're sharing it in that anger. And then other people are more mad because each time someone's sharing it, they're adding something to that, right? And so, and there's the anger that we're all feeling. Anger, yeah, people are saying that, like in the comments, yeah, anger, people are mad. And then you read it, and you read it, and you read it again, and there's portions of that that I think are true, right? And there's lots of, I mean, back from vet reports to other statements that have been made publicly, and you start to piece these things together. And to me, yeah, someone says I trust very little from unnamed sources. I said that, I don't even know who I was talking to, Christine. I was talking to someone this week, and I was like, if you're anonymous, you're kind of a ghost, right? And so we're chasing ghosts here. But let's just say that, you know, that person was there because they said they were. And you start looking at stuff. So let's just walk through that week. So just walk through the week with me. So Tuesday, there's blood tests, and the blood test did not indicate any issues. Okay, we know that. Then I don't remember, and you guys can tell me, I can look it up, if it was Tuesday or if it was Wednesday that there was a post put out by Miami Aquarium, and it showed how great she is, and she's doing great, and it had one of the trainers and talking about how great she's doing and how well she's progressing. Yeah, people in their comments and speculation about that. If they put that out, just seems kind of a no-brainer that was the case when they made that video, right? And then they put this out on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it might have come out like late Tuesday or early Wednesday. And then Wednesday, she begins to have a loss of appetite. And she's had this before, right? That's been in the reports. I think it was in the July report, some gastro issues, and sometimes she has them, and she has these issues with her stomach. So this didn't seem on Wednesday anything more alarming than what had happened the month before. And I think even the month before that, if we go back and we look at the vet reports, right? She sometimes has these gastro issues. And so they're thinking that that's what it is, but she begins to lose her appetite. And then, so I think this was Wednesday evening that there was a little more concern. And it was kind of like, well, okay, so if she doesn't eat, right, you can't really give her meds and make sure she's hydrated. So the determination was to have this procedure, and we can talk about that procedure. And I think Howard might want to say something too, but in the article, it makes it sound like she had surgery or something. She didn't. You know, the procedure. So for those of you that don't know, there's a couple ways to give orcas their medication. And we all know she was on prescribed medication. She has been for a very long time. So that's not new either. Okay. So she's on these medications that have been prescribed to her by the vets. And the only way you can give them to her is if she's eating, or if she's going to present her flukes for a amount of time up on that slide out to be able to take, IV medication and hydration. And so since she wasn't eating and wasn't giving them another option, they decide, okay, so if she doesn't eat by Friday morning, we're going to need to drop the water to be able to give her the application of prescribed medications through her IV injections. So they bring the crane in, which people are saying when they're spreading this article, like, well, they had the crane there. They knew that, she was going to pass, and they did this on purpose, and no. In order to, it's an old pool for those of you that don't know, so it doesn't have a lift, right? So the only way to drop the water is to install these bulkheads, these big, massive, I don't know how much they weigh, but they need a crane, and they always have. Every time they've done this, they've had to bring in the crane to be able to lower these bulkheads in there to be able to separate the A, quote unquote, bigger side of the whale bowl compared to the back B pool. So they have to, they needed a crane there. I mean, they always do. There are no strong people that are going to be able to go in there and install that without a crane. And so we'll talk about the bulkheads in a minute, because that's also, something people talked about. So they dropped the water by Friday. I think it was Friday morning, because, and again, there's multiple reports if you put them all together. So Friday morning, they dropped the water in B pool to be able to administer medication to her, which is what they've done before. And does she like that? No, that's been clearly stated multiple times that when they had to do this back in October, she does not like it. Okay. So I'm sure she was agitated. I'm sure that part is correct. She's, I'm sure wasn't happy about that. But the alternative is to not feed her and not give her medication. So again, right, you have to make some choices in that moment. And at that point, she hadn't been eating for, like a day or day and a half. So they do that. They do the medical procedure, which again is giving her prescribed medications and her IV injections of fluids, because she needs those, obviously. And then they start to raise the water, and she doesn't respond as quickly as she normally does when they do this. And so there, you'll see in the article, it talks about how, I don't remember the exact word. I don't know if they use the word listing, or I think they said one of her flukes wasn't, moving the way that it should have been. And so she was kind of listing. So then they drop the water again. And then there's, in the article, talks about the bulkheads, breaching. And I've talked to folks too. And yeah, that's true. There was some like cracks, but it wasn't like water was gushing through and they couldn't keep the water down. And if you read through the article carefully, it also says that they were able to, I don't know if I have the article out, but there was a piece where it does talk about they were able to get the water dropped again. So it was like, yes, that was the case, that there was some leaking, but it didn't prevent them from being able to drop the water in a timely manner to be able to kind of get back in there and assist her, to continue to assist her. And because she wasn't responding, they brought in, they put the stretcher in with the crane that was already there from installing and would have been needed to uninstall the bulkhead. So yes, the crane stayed in place because that's what happens when you do that. So they put her in the stretcher to keep her upright, because yes, she's a conscious breather. You guys read that in the article as well, and we all know that. And so they put her in the stretcher. If you read the article and you get into the dramatics of it, it sounds awful. Now, the person in the article who says, I can't remember, I want to do the right words on this, but they make it sound like it was a agony, I think is the word that they use. again, mind you, the person that used that word was not present and states that she was not present when this procedure was being done. So again, you read stuff in social media, you read stuff in articles, and you have to be careful with the words that they use, because a medical procedure, I mean, what did you guys think when you read that? Like, well, what medical procedure? Why didn't we know she was getting a medical procedure? And really what it was to give her medication. Howard, do you want to say anything about the medical procedure before I kind of carry on?
Well, only that it was repeated. I counted 8 times that it said medical procedure, and it never really said what that was. It did describe, yes, she got medications, and that is true, but that isn't necessarily that they give the impression that the medical procedure was somehow something very drastic, that was dangerous, and that could have been led to her death. And that is sort of the implication that is in the article, but it's just a kind of a sloppy article, I think. The way that it's written, it's really hard to follow, and so people's imaginations just go wild. I mean, another thing is that they talk about that part of the fluke was limp. Well, the fluke is one unit. It's compressed collagen. The whole fluke moves at once, and so there's no part of the fluke that can go limp. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's just sort of one example of a kind of a completely uninformed, naive kind of statement that in that article that makes me, well, that and the whole implication that there was incompetence and any human error involved. Until I see evidence, I don't see that there was any human error. Sure, there was some measures taken because they were losing her. And what do you do in that last time? I mean, I think we're in the position of our loved one has died in the hospital, and we need to hear from the doctors, and we have not heard. And I understand that they can't say anything. I hope that they will be able to as soon as possible, but we really need to hear the direct, authoritative story of what happened before we can accept any of this conjecture. That's all I have to say.
No, I totally agree. I'm going to read the sentence that I found because either they misled the world to think she was healthy, or they were really clueless about it and thought she was really healthy when she was sick and immunocompromised. Rodriguez asserts she died an awful agonal death and did not deserve that. This is stated by the person who was not there. You know what she didn't deserve was to be freaking put there in the first place. So, yeah, when you want to talk about long and, yeah, 53 years long. But to sit there and say that these people were clueless when it's just outrageous, I mean, and I just kind of want to close with this other section. I mean, when you talk about these people being clueless and making these crazy finger pointing, just, like these people are devastated, you guys. They were
Right.
there for her and experienced, and it's not just like, oh, poor them. No, these people were like, we were on the cusp of something magical. She was about to go home, and all of these people who were there changed their lives to be there to help her, to make her life better while she was there. And you want to sit there and point fingers? Like, really? These are the very people who were actually doing something, not sitting behind their computer, making outrageous claims and spreading just this awful hate. And I'm sorry, I'm feeling really protected because these people loved her and they
Absolutely.
were devastated.
And they felt tremendous responsibility to do whatever they could for her, and they did everything they possibly could.
They did. And to imply differently is not just cruel, but it's just beyond outrageously insensitive to them, to us, meaning all of you who are grieving. you know, to get under people's skin and to try to get people more angered and to fight when we don't have the necropsy results. And that's a whole other thing. Like, why are we, meaning people, so willing to accept negative, but not even consider that it might not be? Now, we don't have it yet. You know, we don't have the necropsy results. And I've already heard people say, well, even if they say they do and they release them, they're not going to be real. They're not going to be, you know, the right results. They're going to spin it the way they want to. I mean, the dang thing's not even out and people are already discrediting it. So what do you want to hear? Is that the crap you want to hear? That there was just some horrible last moment? Is that really what you want to believe? Are you even willing to consider something else? Because it's, you know, the thing that's it's just so frustrating because the report's not out yet and we have to keep holding each other up because, you know, when it comes out, then we'll deal with that, right? Then we'll deal with that. But right now it's just speculation and spreading fear and spreading anger and trying to get people to fight, and it's working. And that's the part, that's what pisses me off, not the article. Go ahead, Mom.
Yeah, everything that you've just said and everything that you've just said, Howard, but in my opinion, it's no more than clickbait, that these people are so desperate for attention and for readers to read what they say. Where were they when she needed to be rehomed? Where were they then? She spent her whole life in that bathtub. And not once did they issue a report about what was happening, that we were so close to getting her home. But as soon as she's dead, then, you know, they want the attention. And I might forgive, but I'll never forget that. And they'll get the wrath of Ma on them. They will. They'll get the wrath of Ma on them. I'm so upset and angry about this that it's just absolutely appalling.
Like, why tear down the people who were doing something? You know,
Well,
we said this on Thursday. Like, the only thing we should be focused on tearing down, you guys, is the dams. You know, wait for the results. Wait and see what happens before just losing it, you know? And then we're also thinking, okay, like, yeah, exactly, Ritas, we have to channel Toki's extreme patience to wait for the facts. And I saw that Susan said, you know, people just calmly want to know what happened. Absolutely. We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. And I hope that folks who were there are able to talk about this after the necropsy results. I don't know when, but hopefully, we can be walked through that, because I don't want to believe an anonymous ghost. I want to be able to look at someone when they're telling this, you know, if we need it. But here's the truth, you guys, is she's home.
Yeah.
And we have to like focus on, you know, you talk about resting in peace. Really? Is that what we're doing here? Are we allowing that, supporting that, promoting that? No. We're like drudging up the and, you know, demand for justice. And I get it. And if there needs to be a demand for justice, then yeah, let's do that. But we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So why are we just, you know, up in arms? Sorry,
well, it's just unfortunate that nobody can say anything who was there. I really wish those NDAs could be lifted, or some authoritative timeline can be, you know, provided for all of us who really want to know.
Yeah.
And in the absence of that, it creates this void, and then these, you know, nefarious people just, you know, jump in with their explanations to blame the people that they want to blame for whatever purpose. And I don't know what that is, but they you know, that opens the door for that. So we really need some authoritative timeline to come. And yeah, somehow.
I think so too. No, I do. I think so too. And I hope so. And I hope we get to be able to, if people need to hear it, I would much rather them hear it from the folks who were there, who are not hiding behind an anonymous quote, because it just matters, you know. And then I see people saying that, you know, the necropsy was given to Noah. No, it wasn't. if you look at the NOAA website, it clearly states they were not given the necropsy report, nor they required to. But, Eduardo Albor has said publicly that he will release it. So, Eduardo, I hope so. I hope you do. But no, it was not released to NOAA. No, it's not. I said, that sounds like I said NOAA twice. No, it has not been released to NOAA. If you look on the website, it clearly states that they do not have the necropsy report. So were they given a cause of death? I'm not sure. But they were not given the necropsy report, and it says that on their very website. So we all just have to continue to be patient and focus on what's really magical here. And that's kind of where I want to turn that over to Howard.
That's what I was hoping you would do. As much as there is mystery and intrigue and nefarious agents around her demise, what really fascinates me and what is truly scientifically mysterious to me is the synchronicity. The exact same time that she was in distress, in extremis, in technical. I mean, she was having a real hard time breathing, staying up, and there was great concern about her, and she was in trouble. She was struggling in Miami, and exactly that time, JK&L pods, if not all of them, almost all of them, that's 75 whales if they all came to the heart of where Toki grew up, of her home habitat, her foraging range right off the west side of San Juan Island. And that happens to be where there's a lighthouse with a webcam. And they were under that webcam for at least an hour, and I'm hearing that actually extended on another hour and maybe an hour before. So for 2 or 3 hours, they were under that webcam, and they were behaving in ways that I had never seen. I saw it live, knowing nothing about Toki in Miami and what was happening there. But all I saw were JK&L Pod's southern resident orcas, Toki's family, her clan, her extended family, come in, even though none of them knew her except one, L25, Ocean Sun. The others somehow were affected. I mean, the timing is just completely synchronous. The exact time that she was in trouble, they were there, and they were behaving in ways that I hesitate to try to describe, because I don't want to, overinterpret and narrow down the possibilities of what was going on. But they looked disturbed. They looked agitated. They looked to me like they were in mourning, in grieving. And that's just my interpretation. But yes, let's play it. It actually, this is a compilation of some of the more clear behavior, but it did go on for 2 or 3 hours, and then actually into the next day and the next day.
So I want to
interject
here, if this is okay. So this was on Thursday, and so on Thursday she wasn't necessarily struggling and to the point of like the breathing and stuff, where where they were doing the procedure to give her meds. But on Thursday she had already stopped eating. She was clearly not doing well, right, at the time of this video.
Well, this was between about 3 and 5 or 6 p.m. West Coast, so we're talking
on the 7th.
Into the evening of Thursday before she died the next day.
Right.
So, I mean,
I just wanted to pinpoint that thing. And it did last hours, Howard, because we were on our Thursday, getting ready to do our Thursday meditation, which is at 5:30 Pacific time. And we were all sitting there watching this live, and through the meditation, we went in and watched this. So this went on for a while. Let's go ahead and watch clips, just a clip of it. You tell me when.
For some context, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
some context, orcas tend to always be on the move. Even when they're foraging, they're spread out, but they're trending in one direction or another. Or when they're socializing, they very seldom stay in one place for more than a few minutes. And yet they were there for about 3 hours. And I did talk to some other, veteran observers of orca behavior, and they watched it live. And at the time, not knowing anything about Toki and Miami, they were wondering, what is this about? Going all different directions, spy hopping, rolling over, tail lobbing, few breaches. And it was mostly very silent. The hydrophone is on.
Right.
So we would hear their calls, and at about the 7.5 minute mark, there are some calls. Yeah, let's pick it up there. That's where they're much closer. Yes, our spiritual advisor, Rosie Caillou, a Samish, Salish, coastal Salish elder whose father grew up with orchids.
Watch the caption.
And whose father watched the capture in 1970, has told us, and she has an uncanny way of interpreting spiritual matters, that her spirit returned, Toki's spirit returned on Thursday before she died. This was without Rosie seeing this footage. There's a call. I'm sorry.
Kids.
They're not going anywhere. They're just circulating in this area, which is the very heart of their. There we are. Of their range, their habitat, their backyard, their home waters. This is the heart of it.
All right. We could watch more, and I have it set up so we can.
Another thing that Rosie Caillou told us was that during grieving, that it's very common for the elders to go off by themselves and let the young people and with the kids kind of stay among themselves, but the elders tend to go off. And that is exactly what happened. That L25 separated from the L12s that she travels with and was way off on the horizon on Friday at exactly the time that Toki died.
You can't tell me they didn't know. No
I
one
know.
can say
Oh,
they didn't know, and she was there greeting her daughter.
yeah. And it just all adds up that way. And of course, this isn't the only time that we have seen that kind of, uncanny knowing when something is happening.
I'm trying to keep up with some of the comments, and some people were saying they were remaining silent out of respect for their relative, and some people are saying, how does the size of the area they stayed in compare to the size of Toki's tank? They're just curious. Russell's curious about, did they stay in, was it a small area? And if you guys know Russell's been on before and talks about, the communication aspect. And yeah, absolutely. This is absolutely proof of the nonverbal physical communication. Absolutely. I just remember we were all watching and oh, sorry, Ma, I'll give it right back. We were watching on Thursday, like, is someone being born? What is happening? Something's going on. What is going on? Why are they all here? And they not only just did what they did, but they chose to do it right there in front of the camera. And I think that they did that to comfort us. That's my personal.
Maybe so. Yeah. I mean, they might know that. Don't know the extent. They don't know what they're aware of.
We're not very bright compared to them. I think they were like, we need to do this right in front of the camera where they're going to see, so they can try to figure this out. Go ahead, Ma.
I definitely, that's exactly what they did. You know my beliefs, all of you. That's what this poster behind me, it's all about, in my opinion, it's all about vibrational frequency and astral traveling and how spiritual that is. And orcas, it doesn't matter where they are, they have that ability. And just not, if anybody wants to investigate that more, I'd just say, find out all you can about astral traveling and about different frequencies and how things vibrate. But again, they're just so much more intelligent than us, and they don't need to see the physical. They're so connected that that's what they do. It doesn't matter how far away they are. There's no time, no space. They are all linked. And just to say, in my opinion, again, that magic is just science we don't understand yet. In time to come, we will understand that. We won't need phones and we won't need iPads because it's all here, and that's what we've forgotten, and that's what the orcas remember.
Yeah. Russell, Ma is someone you should be in touch with for your projects. Just saying. So I'll probably link you guys together to be able to have conversations around some of the stuff Russell's up to.
Yeah,
I think and, people are absolutely, orcas are so much more highly evolved compared to us humans. Yep. And how we think in capital quotes, we think we're smarter. Yeah, no, we're not smart enough to figure it out yet. We just pretend that we are. And
but how many people have been like contacted by Toki that have never met her? Maybe have never even been in Florida. Maybe never have even been in the United States.
Right.
And yet Toki has reached out to them, and I mean, there's just to me, there's just no denying that, that space and time frequency connection with the orcas, all of them, But Toki seemed to be, she seemed to reach out to a lot of people that I know.
Yeah. Me too.
Howard, I often think about your words when you said that Toki changed you. She changed something in you as a scientist, you know, and that's my background as well. Seeing the behavior of the orcas at these critical times has definitely backed up, you know, the kind of woo-woo spiritual thinking that, you know, they're on a different level. But now we see this happening in real time, and it's validating, you know, those things. So I think on so many levels, for so many people, and even the world, she changed the world.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yes. Well, yeah, I started working as a volunteer, field researcher in 1981. And it was purely, an objective demographic study, count the individuals every year. But, it was about orcas, and you learn about orcas, and then you start to see some of the unusual, uncanny synchronicity. Not going to say coincidence because that implies no connection, but there really was some kind of connection, and I can tell, half a dozen stories of those incidents. Orcas seemed to know that they were right there at the time that something was happening that was about them, and it was highly emotional, and that held them in great esteem. And they appeared, and they behaved in a way that they were there for it. They weren't just passing by. They weren't foraging. They weren't just doing, often they will do some kind of socializing, but this one on the 17th and 18th and 19th actually really defies any other explanation except that they had some kind of long distance communication, telepathy, astral knowledge. I don't, brain waves, electromagnetic impulses. I don't, I think it needs to be looked at as a scientific mystery. Just because we haven't looked at it seriously before. But I think it really needs to be, incorporated into our understanding of orcas, and that is a whole spiritual realm that, I didn't get educated to understand. So I don't know how to explain it, except it just opens my mind to greater options, greater possibilities than I ever believed before. Yeah, I'm changed.
This is the story that the New Times should be writing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
And maybe this is something that we reach out to give the other side. I do want to circle back just a little bit because some people in the comments, and I don't want to be dismissive, have not moved on from some of the things we talked about earlier. So
right.
yes, the NOAA statement on their website said that they make it sound they had to go in and amend their grammar, but Howard and they did say that Miami Square notified them of the cause, and I don't know if they actually said cause of death or not, but they said of the cause, but that they did not get the necropsy results. And so my understanding is that the full necropsy report is not done because they were sending out to all these different labs, and they weren't going to release it until it was done. They also mentioned that MSQ is not required to release the report, but again, Al Gore has publicly said he would, and so we hope that he does when that is completed. So yes, they did say that, and I'm losing track of the comments, but I did want to didn't want to move past some of that people were saying. I'm also not dismissing the anonymous person who spoke to the Miami New Times. What I was saying was, if you the comments from the person who was not there, I am dismissing because they're stated as if they're firsthand and they were not. And the article clearly states that she was not present. If you go back and read the article carefully, and if you can read it 20 times until you're not upset by it, but you can actually read the quotes by the source. And again, I understand people are on NDAs and that's why people remain anonymous. Someone put that in the comment. Yes, I do understand that. And I'm not dismissing anything that person said, but if you go back and decipher what the anonymous person said, there was nothing that the anonymous person said that was alarming. You know what I mean? It's not. It said, you know, when you asked about, someone wants to know where I got my information about what was administered. The reporter said that the anonymous person said the bulkheads were deployed, allowing the water level where Lolita was isolated to drop enough for veterinarians to administer fluids and medication. And then that the aquarium has not released the name of the medication. And then it also said, if you just go back and read it, because I don't want to read the whole, it's long. But the quotes from that person are not, there's nothing bad about what the anonymous reported. I'm just saying it would sure be nice to be able to look at people and have them come on the show and be able to talk to us without having to hide behind the term anonymous. And I think that's what we were saying, because you're right. It is like a ghost, but I'm not saying I don't believe what they said. Go back and read the article. There was nothing that person said that was alarming. It's the person who was not present that makes it sound alarming. And the people who are posting the article, their comments appear alarming, and they weren't there either. So that's what I meant by that, just to clarify that. And then Susan said, you know, the hope now is that all the Toki loving humans can continue this loving momentum and help save her family from starvation by coming together to breach the dams. Susan, you are absolutely not the only one wanting that. That was her question. I do want to point out that if you weren't watching on Thursday and if you haven't kept up, we had John Carlos Frey on a few weeks ago, and we spread the GoFundMe information widely. And Thursday, right before meditation, I got the little notification because I had donated, like, thanks for your donation, but we're done. We got this money. So I'm going to put this back up. Somebody donated $470,000 to the GoFundMe so that Damn Nonsense, the documentary film or project, so that can be completed. If you guys didn't watch that episode, go back on our YouTube and watch that. John Carlos Frey is amazing. He's going to do a wonderful job.
Who did it?
We don't know.
No, we must know.
We must not know. We must not.
I can say, I don't know, a box of chocolate on some flowers, you know.
So here's
Come
what
on.
I did.
We need to know who is his hero.
I asked, and I asked that if this hero would be able to come on so we can do a public thank you.
Yes.
A lot of people thought it was a certain somebody. It is not a certain somebody that was involved with Friends of Toki. We'll just say that. I did verify that. However, this person is asking to remain anonymous.
Maybe Jim Irsay?
It is not Jim. It is not Jim.
So just to...
We love you so much. Thank you.
But we do love Jim Irsay for all he's done. But so to the anonymous person who donated $470,000, our hands are raised to you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you.
Thank you. Toki make it possible. Toki made it.
Yes.
Toki.
It's going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing.
To sort of fill in, this will allow John Carlos Frey, a 6-time Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist, to go into places, ask the hard questions, make his presence known so he cannot be ignored, and get answers from people who hold the keys, who really could say, who could make that decision to support reaching the dams, and it would happen. And yet they don't, or other people are convincing them not to. So he's going to go to all those places and get them on film. And it's going to be a powerful film.
It's going to be a powerful film. And I want to remind people, as Christina is giving me psychic vibes all the way from over there, to remind people that we don't need to wait for the film. We want to, and we can't wait to see it, but we don't need to wait for the film. You guys can go to, oops, hold on. Deb Cruz and I are both pressing buttons. I'm going to leave this one up for a little while. We're competing with our button pressing. Call the White House, you guys. They will take down your comment verbally. So you can do that, or you can go to www.usa.gov/agencies/White House and also leave your comment there. So you can write, you can call, you can email, do it all. The president, I'll let Christina say it because she's so cute when she says it. What can the president do, Christina?
He can sign an executive order and breach the dam.
So we're going to keep doing that as well. We're going to keep doing that, praying for that, promoting that. It is absolutely Toki's legacy and Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's legacy to take care of our family. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And that's a big focus moving forward. So thank you, anonymous donor. Thank you, Howard, for your wonderful presentation. On Friday, we will share that. We're so blessed to have you. And so
I would just like to, put a caveat in that my timeline was a little off. Some of what I assumed happened on Thursday really didn't happen until Friday, apparently. And this, again, we're piecing together anonymous reports or people that we may talk to who have to remain anonymous because of their NDAs. So we can't, say where we're getting it, but we're piecing it together. And I was a little off in my timeline. The facts were true, but they needed to be moved a few hours forward into Friday from what I said happened on Thursday.
Well, and it's interesting, people are like, well, we should have known this, we should have this, we should have that. I mean, and you're right. Yes, we wish all the information would have been shared with us as it was happening. But you guys, we're dealing with folks that how many years, Howard, have you been trying to be in communication and get information? I mean, people started sharing this information and we're mad because it's not all of it. But man, we are so far along compared to where we've been for so many years of getting absolutely nothing. If this had been the previous owners, we wouldn't have known anything.
Not a thing. Not a thing. No. Yeah, it was since 1995. I've been yelling at the fortress, tell us what's going on and help us help Toki, but no answer. So that's how it's been. So we've got much more cooperation in the last 2 years than we ever have.
Yeah. I want to share a cool story, but I'm going to give Alejandro the opportunity to say anything before we move on to that, because I want to close with this story. So Alejandro, anything you want to say to close out today?
Just I agree with Howard 100%. And thanks so much, Howard, for clarifying about this article. Whatever you said, you're right. We trust this process from the beginning. And whatever they do was the perfect thing Toki had the chance to do in her entire life, So it is what it is, when the Dolphin Company, get engaged with Toki, she was almost dying. And they were working so hard to give her a chance to go back home. And this is the life, we're here today, we don't know tomorrow. So we are healthy now, and tomorrow we don't know what could happen, But I trust this process, and I trust whatever Howard said. That's all.
That's so awesome.
He's a professor. That's all. He's a professor.
Howard is amazing, and
I can be corrected. It's all right. But thank you.
It's probably very rare for you, Howard. You're so brilliant. Our Professor Howard. Just to give you another, so Howard came up in a conversation for me while at work, and this is my fun little story. So I'm at work on Friday. Wait, my days are all mixed up. On Friday, and one of the ladies at work, they're wonderful young lady. She, I call her Kika. So hi, Kika, if you're watching. And Kika works in the behavioral health field at work, and she couldn't wait to tell me that she had gone to her grandma's house and was helping her grandma do some things, and she saw this rock at her grandma's. You guys see?
Oh,
Hold
wow.
on, make it big because it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Wow.
So she asks her grandma, well, you know, do you want that? Can I have that kind of thing? And her grandma says, no, it's very special. Is very special to her, and this signifies Lolita and Toki, and started to tell her granddaughter the story. And her granddaughter says, so Kika says, well, I know all about her because I work with this lady, and you know, she works in this, and she does this all the time. She's in these conversations, and her grandma says, well, who is this lady? And she says, well, her name's Annette Martinez. And so her grandma's like, oh my goodness, I've always wanted to meet Annette Martinez. So her grandma, Judith, hi, everyone say hi to Judith. Hi, Judith. Judith watches TokiTV. And I can't wait to meet you, Judith. We're going to go have lunch. It'll be fun. And hear all about Howard, because she also mentioned how she knew Howie from way back in the day.
Way back.
Northern New Mexico. So I call Howard and I'm like, hey, Howard, what do you know about Judith? So Howard, tell us about
Judy and I were close neighbors in a little town, and I'm talking little town called Ojo Feliz, which means the eye of God or the happy eye, depending on your interpretation of Ojo. In northern New Mexico, in the sort of the unpopulated eastern side of New Mexico, and she was a very close neighbor and a very good friend, and this was 1972.
Wow.
And all the way through the 70s, and we've just kept in contact all these years, and she's been a great friend and a big fan of Toki all these years too. So she's been helping in any way she could. So hi, Judy, and hi, Kiki. Good to meet you.
And needless to say, so then she said, my grandma, after all that conversation, said, no, this belongs to Annette. Take this to Annette. So thank you, Judith. I will honor that with the energy that so deserves. And again, I just can't wait to meet you, and thank you for all you've done and your prayers and you holding her in your heart. So that's kind of fun, and I wanted to be able to just acknowledge that online, and again acknowledge not only is Toki and has all these years brought all these different people together. It's like she's tying them up, like just weaving it like, oh, well, did you know that this person knows this person and this person, you know, when it's like coming to fruition, it's like, what a small, big, small world that it is. So I just wanted to share that because it was just such a cool story, warmed my heart. And then I'm going to make these guys big on the screen here, because through this whole entire time, and they're muted, so if you guys want to unmute, you don't have to, but you can. I feel the prayers from that totem pole coming through the screen behind you guys. You guys are glowing from that totem pole. So anything you guys want to say there from Jackson Beach before we close?
Since we're on a spiritual woo-woo thing, we do got a story. This morning we were doing the sunrise prayers, and it started off being just a prayer at the water's edge. And we went in, we did the directions, and we started talking to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's, and we called her name out 3 times. And she's all around us, everybody. She's all around all of us. Even again, she did it again, the whole Salish Sea. It changed. You call out her name and the water starts, you can feel her coming everywhere. And so it felt like she was reinforcing us. And as Mom Christina says, it's all about frequency and action, and orcas speak in love and compassion. So all these actions that we take as a Toki army, an Orca army, a Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's army. Let's take these actions with love and compassion, my friends.
Absolutely.
Love and compassion for each other, for them, for the planet, for our children, for all that is.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, guys. And I see Alma tearing up, and Christina and Ma. We have felt that. And Deb, well, you were there, and so was Casey when we did that in all together there in Bellingham. I mean, we started calling her name, and those waves came, and Toki knocked me on my, you know what. Was trying to lift me up, and Howard's trying to hold me, and as soon as I said her name, she just knocked me on my ass. I'm just gonna. We're like, okay, we get it, but it's powerful, and you. I'll have to clip that video so you guys can see it. It's actually kind of fun to watch it. But it's powerful. That energy is powerful, and that connection is powerful with all of you. I love all of you a lot. And somebody posted like, hey, it's been a rough week. If you guys want some uplifting, do something uplifting today. Watch football if that's your thing, or tune into TokiTV to be able to be uplifted by some wonderful people. And so I'm blessed and honored to share this space with all of you in a really loving way each and every week. And I'm going to close with Dee Jones' song. It's a beautiful song, and I want to be able to close on that positive note in that sacred space. I love all of you.
Can I make one addition?
Of course.
Don't get scared, because I'm not going to show my middle finger, but this time,
Go ahead,
I want to give a heart to the donor who is donating all this money for breaching the dams and helping Toki's family.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, anonymous donor. We appreciate you. We love you guys again a lot. The song that you're going to hear is a portion of it. It's you'll hear more of it probably next week in the full video. But Dee Jones, thank you. It's gorgeous, and we'll just close out this way. Love you guys. Have a wonderful week.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, I'm trying to put a screen up. I did the wrong thing. Here we go.
You took me away from my water that helped me to thrive for my life. You took me away from my family who loved me and taught